I call them child soldiers,
child
you know?
soldiers.
And now we're shadow banned again.
You said there's a professional level to everything.
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, small PP energy.
Like, how many times do you get dropped on your head to die on the hill of you shouldn't drink water?
Last summer, I posted a thing about, hey, you need to drink water if you're going to play at the field.
Yeah.
This is the one I always trip over.
Airsoft.
You guys get to see how many takes it takes for Dave to do the intro.
I'm gonna shoot for a one take. The pressure's on. They got live feed here. Pressure's on.
It's
Let's see what
airsoft.
we can do. Which camera am I looking at in this one?
Okay, so close up for you two, wide shot, and then close up for me.
Jordan gets his own camera.
I only have 3 cameras, and you two are sitting next to each other. So pick a camera, just not that camera.
Okay, I'm gonna go with this camera.
I don't remember if I turned autofocus off on that one. You may have just fucked this.
Figure it out. Come on.
I'll fix it in post.
Okay. You can't unfocus.
I know,
That's
have AI unfuck the focus.
Oh yeah, and have my computer running for 3 weeks to fix that footage.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Zulu 24 podcast. Joined with me today is Anthony Aprile, Antec Airsoft Studios, and also Jordan sitting in the Jamie over there. We're doing a little bit of a live stream here, which is strange. Got me tripping up on my words and everything. But today we're going to talk a little bit. I'm sorry. Let me back up. We've been talking about the boss unit a lot recently, and that's probably boring for a lot of people. So we're going to talk a little bit about the boss unit, and then the rest is kind of unhinged, and we're going to take questions from the live stream, and then just go from there. What's going on, everybody? How you doing?
Hello.
Hello. Doing good.
Perfect. Off to a
Doing
great
good.
start.
Yeah, this is going to be swell.
Yeah, you're running a great start. For everybody on the live stream, the podcast is going to be completely edited. So you guys are basically seeing the raw untalent that we have.
Yes. So as you were saying, we're going to talk a little bit about the boss unit.
A little bit.
And then we're going to go off the rail and just not bore everybody.
Correct. So we're going to talk a little bit of the boss unit, and then we're going to talk about somebody trying to join a militia.
That's Milson.
Yeah. And then, man, we're going to do viewer, I guess, live stream viewer questions if they want to ask questions. If not, we'll just talk about random shit, man.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So, Anthony, you've been working on some boss unit trigger stuff.
I have. So when it comes to the Kythera engine, which is all mechanical and doesn't have a circuit for you to connect the boss cable to, I came up with a drop-in solution. It's at the point now where I feel like I can just sell this as a complete harness. It's a 3D printed housing that holds the micro switch, and that fits in the gearbox shell where the bearings would normally go. So it puts it in a specific spot, and the position of the switch can actually be tuned. There's a couple grub screws in there that'll help you like fix the switch into the right spot. Because when you tune a Kythera, the position of the trigger link might be different depending on how you like your trigger. So there's some adjustability there. Otherwise, the whole harness part, pre-soldered, pre-wired, you're going to have a JST cable come out through the grip of your gun. And then the boss cable is going to route out through the front of your gearbox the way it normally would for any front wired gun. And for the sake of a VFC, at the very least, there's a nice little gap between that upper and lower receiver where the pin goes, and that's the place where you'd route that cable. So now, when you have the Kythera and you have the switch, the only difference now with you using your Kythera is that now when you want to use the boss unit, you could plug a small HPA LiPo into that JST connector.
How long does that battery last?
For the boss unit, this battery lasts a ridiculously long time. This is like all you really need. You'll get multiple days.
So I've been using that pretty hardcore. You're going to get about 2 days of play out of the boss unit with that. I would still charge it every day you're going to play with it, but I have yet to destroy one of those JST LiPos from using the boss system. And we drained it all the way to 0. We saw what happened last Sunday with it.
Hey, so if you're going to do like a 40-hour event, you need just 2 batteries?
I would bring 2.
Yeah.
So that's just the Kythera. I'm going to put the little USB switch in here.
Watch as all my mics peak.
Yeah, all the mics are going to peak. Let me just...
Ooh, yeah, because you haven't lubed that.
I have not lubricated this in a while.
Yeah.
I have not lubricated this in a while. This actually sat in my car for like 2 weeks.
You also may need to adjust your gas. I had to do that today.
There you go.
So it's that simple. When you have your gearbox open and you put your Kythera engine in there, you just pop that switch in the holes for the bearings, or rather the housing, and then you just adjust the position of the switch. There's a little bit of like back and forth trial and error until you get the switch in the right spot. But what happens is it's a switch that clicks. When the trigger is not pulled yet and the gun's ready to fire, it's actually pressing the switch. And when the switch is released, that's when it sends a signal to the boss unit. Now, if you put this in your Kythera, you want the firmware update on the boss unit to use the semi-auto mode. That way, when you hold the trigger after that semi-auto shot, the boss unit also knows to stop firing. Mine doesn't have that firmware update. Jordan's does. So on my gun, I can hold the trigger after that semi-auto shot and the boss unit will still continue to fire. If you don't want to do the firmware update because you want that versatility.
No, they can't. It's going to ship with the latest firmware.
Yeah, well, you still have to connect it to the computer to put it into semi-auto mode.
Yes, that you do have to.
So if you don't want to, don't worry about it. But if you want it to truly be semi-auto only, you have to connect it to a computer, and it has to be a Windows computer.
Yep.
Yeah, that too.
We've learned that.
Yeah.
I have everything but.
iOS sucks.
We do have a viewer question about the boss system already.
Yeah.
Can the boss system be barrel mounted instead of using the bottom rail?
Ooh. We are working on that.
Yeah, so
we're working on that.
We have a metal barrel mount for the rear assembly. And we already have the front barrel clamp. Now we just have to test fit it and see if it does work. If it doesn't, then we have to explore the options of maybe trying a real one. If not, designing one and having one made. But
it would be very easy for me to 3D print the whole mount, the rear ring and the front latch that attaches on. The quickest and I guess crudest way to do it, it would look like every 3D printed part you've seen sold on Hop Up. It won't be like cleverly designed or anything. It'll use nuts and bolts to kind of clamp it on there, but it will work. If you want the aesthetic,
I don't trust it.
I trust it to be sturdy. I just don't trust it to look cool.
I don't know, man. That's a lot. It's so like the Bosch unit weighs 3.7 pounds. I don't know if I would trust hanging that off of a 3D printed mount.
3D FDM printers can make very usable parts. I mean, people are making firearms with FDM printers. It's really just about like the shape of the part, the filament you're using, and just how exactly are you going to mount it. So a really good way to make a clamp with 3D printed parts is to use a nut and a hex nut and a bolt, and you actually press fit the hex nut into one end of that clamp, and then you run a bolt through the other end, and that gives you a very sturdy fit. Just look up FGC9. Just look at it.
Yeah. I mean,
so gross.
You're not wrong, but it's also like at the same time, me personally, I don't know if I would trust that. In the same way, I don't trust 3D printed night vision arms. Like the housings are fine, but the actual arm that articulates the nods, I wouldn't trust it.
I don't trust my 3D printed arm for my night vision. However, I've been running the same 3D printed arm for my PVS 14 for like 2 years at this point, probably. It's pretty sturdy, Again, the alternative to 3D printed barrel mount kit is Jordan does have that rear
metal assembly.
The main thing is we just want to make sure it lines up with the holes on top of the boss system. So on an M203, when you want to rail mount it or barrel mount it, the Riz rail adapter or that barrel mount is just held in with 2 screws, and that's pretty common amongst most M203s, like on the airsoft market.
Yeah.
So you can probably get some hardware from an airsoft M203 and get it to fit with very little modification. So that would be the rear portion. As for the front portion, I found a website that's actually selling those front clamps, the ones that latch over and lock in. I don't know if the website is like legit. It's like one of those like small.
So the front barrel mount, that's easier. The rear piece that attaches to the barrel or the rail, if you're still using the Picatinny rail adapter, that's the harder part. The first one we got was plastic. That one didn't fit. Yeah. The metal one, maybe after we're done here, we'll go try it real quick and see if the holes line up. Otherwise, we would have to either do the 3D printed route or design it fresh and see if we could have a metal CNC one made, which would drive the price up. But even then, like me personally, I would prefer it to be metal.
Yeah, so like there's a company called Exometry, and there's other similar companies like this. You can send them STL files, and they'll manufacture that part for you in different ways. So you can choose to have it CNC'd, you can choose to have it like MJF printed, you can choose for it to be injection molded. So, you know, if it's something that seems to be like really desired by end users that get the Boss unit, I'll totally design the right thing, print it, prototype it, and then when I have, you know, the dimensions for it, I know it works, I can get CNC ones made. Again, the cost isn't going to necessarily be cheap. You know, when you're paying somebody else to make, like, to CNC something,
especially like
paying them to do it for you as a service. So
yeah, like especially like low volume stuff. You're not going to get 10,000 of them. You know what I mean?
No, we maybe need 30.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like for that rear mount part, my guess based on quotes I've got from this website in the past, I'm pretty sure it would be like $30 to $50 to have them make that one part. That does not mean that the part I'll get will be in spec. And it's not because they're doing anything wrong. It's because when you're designing stuff in CAD and then you print it on a 3D printer, that 3D printer is going to have some tolerances. So it's going to be off spec from like the true dimensions that were programmed in the CAD. So when I'm making 3D printed parts, I'll print it, I'll see how it fits. And now I'm tweaking the dimensions based on what will actually come off of my printer. So I know that what I'm printing is going to fit. So now when you try to take that same file, now it's optimized for your printer's tolerances, and you give it to a machine shop that can machine with real precision. If they go solely based on the dimensions in the CAD program, you're probably going to get something that's off. So it'll take time for me to basically make that mount, to make that kit if I go that route. There'll be a lot of back and forth, waiting, lead times for them to make the part, ship it to me test it, me make tweaks, etc.
So what about the Polar Star and Jeftron?
So as far as the Polar Star goes, I spoke to Ben, the owner of Polar Star, and he was like all for it. I kind of told him what was going on. So the idea with the Polar Star is if you just have a Rev 3 FCU, I was just like, hey, why don't we just plug the Boss unit directly into the accessory port? So every time the Polar Star engine fires, the Boss unit fires. And right now it works, but with like one little quirk that Ben is actually working out. On full auto, it's flawless. Basically, when you pull the trigger, you're getting constant signal sent through this cable to the Boss unit until you release the trigger, which again is fine on full auto. But this is also true for when you're on semi-auto. So when you're in semi-auto, similar to the Kythera, but kind of different, when you hold the trigger after that semi-auto shot, the Boss unit will continue to fire on full auto. So Ben is currently working on a program change so that this accessory port knows when the FCU is in semi-auto, and it'll actually just send a short pulse of a signal instead of a constant signal. So
it's like a cutoff lever kind of.
Yeah. As far as how we're going to get those FCUs into the end user's hands, I don't know. I was told in the past by one of their tech support guys that Ben has given instructions to end users on how to flash the FCU and told them what equipment they have to buy to do it so that they can reprogram it themselves. So that might be what Ben does for me in this case. If that's the case, then anybody that has a Boss and an FCU, once I know how to do it and I have the equipment, I can flash your FCU for you, or I can just buy FCUs and pre-flash them and then sell them as is. If he doesn't do that, if he just updates the firmware on all the Rev 3s moving forward for this sake, then
just need a new FCU.
Then just buy another FCU. And if he doesn't do that, I might have to just special order some from him and then resell them as such. So I don't know where that's going to go yet, but he was very confident that reprogramming it would be super easy. So we're almost there with Polar Star. With Jeftron, got an email chain started between Philip, the head tech of Jeftron, and Mark from RDX, who's their engineer. And they were just going back and forth talking about the Boss unit specs. And I was the middleman. So every time there was like a suggestion or a change, I was like rewiring my Jeftron and testing it out. So we got it to a point where we know where we have to solder the cables, and Jeftron's going to have an update ready for that by the end of this month, he said. So by the end of August, hopefully we'll see that Jeftron's firmware update includes a boss mode.
And now, just to be clear, there's already a wiring diagram for Polar Stars that works.
Yes.
This is just making it easier by putting a JST connector or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then plugging it right into your board.
Yeah.
So there's already a way to wire the Polar Star. It's just not, it's like this requires like no soldering and
this will be really fast because then you could just plug it right in.
Sure.
You could wire it directly into the trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen the diagram for it already, and it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So,
but like for certain LMGs, where the FCU is right there, and somebody wants to put an M203 on an LMG for some reason.
Yeah.
Hey, we've seen it.
It was the first thing that came to mind. It was actually my curiosity. It wasn't like necessity from anybody that said, "Hey, try to just connect it directly to the FCU." That was just me thinking, "Ooh, that would be neat. That'd be very easy." So that's where we are with that.
Yeah. What about gas guns?
Gas guns. I've been working on the DAV. It's an acronym for the dating app version of the Boss. And the reason why it's the dating app version for the Boss unit is that there's no strings attached to your gun. It's all external. So here's a VFC lower. Basically, this is going to take the form of like an HRF style magwell and then a custom trigger guard. And what's going to happen is there's just going to be an external switch that is positioned. And you can tune the position of it based on the type of trigger you have, what the trigger pull looks like on your particular gun. So it's not going to be exclusive to gas guns. You can use it on a GBLS. You can use it on a Sistema. You can use it on just an AEG. The circuit, pretty much the same exact thing that I put in the Kythera unit. So there won't be select fire involved, unfortunately. But again, it's the dating app version. You don't get to have all the benefits of marriage when you're just dating, right? So,
Well, it's the unpaid version.
yeah, this is the unpaid version. Yeah. So, so currently I'm just working on that. I just got the magwell down. It required me to basically take the HRF magwell design and just be like, all right, I have to reverse engineer this really quick. Not to steal their magwell and sell these cool flared magwells that are Antec, because that's their design, that's their stuff, right? But really, this is really necessary to make the cable management neat. So this is one that fits on a GHK. The challenge in this is that all these different receivers between different companies that make gas guns, different companies that make AEGs, they have these different specs on their receivers. So, you got to kind of bear with me. I went with VFC because I had the receiver laying around and I had to make very subtle tweaks to it to get it to work on a GHK. So it does fit very snug and it installs just like the HRF magwell, where you have these two roll pins that kind of align it and then two screws that go into some metal threads that are melted into the plastic.
And now that's just to hide the wiring, right?
That's to hide the wiring, yeah. So the next change I'll make to the magwell is actually create a channel for the wiring to route through from the trigger guard. As for the trigger guard, today I just made the first like really rough proof of concept, I guess, for the trigger guard. So it is going to be kind of thick. It will replace the original trigger guard, but this will house either the micro switch or the induction switch. I don't know which one I'm going to use yet. The micro switch is like trigger contacts. So once the two pieces of metal touch, you're conducting electricity. An induction switch completes the circuit when you touch it with a magnet or if you get a magnet close to it. So that is nice because it's really low profile. I can tuck it away very neatly, and I can probably also embed it into the printed part so that you won't even see it. But my concern with it is that if you have like a really strong magnet next to your trigger guard for whatever reason, it will make the Boss unit go off. So I'm actually starting with the micro switch first to see if I can make this neat. If it's too bulky and looks too gross, then I'll play around with the induction switch. And I have some ideas for how I can kind of insulate that magnetic field so that it's less prone to going off from outside things. But yeah, right now we just have a slot and we have this little micro switch, and the micro switch will be able to slide around all the way to the front and all the way to the back, and you can adjust its position. Right now I'm just checking like the trigger guard dimensions, making sure I have the holes in the right spot, making sure it doesn't look gross and bulky. And then I'll start working on actually fixing the micro switch, cable management, and all of that. But then, yeah, you'll be able to use it with a gas gun if you're running CO2 or HPA. It's not recommended you shoot the Boss unit if you're using propane or green gas because of fire hazards and such.
Yeah, because there's an actual explosion happening.
But how cool would it be if the whole gun exploded in your face?
Oh, for immersions? Oh, man.
Dude.
That's Milsim right there.
Yeah, that's like
I'm sorry. There's only one Milsim. Sorry.
there's only one Milsim.
I'm sorry.
There's only one. There's only one.
Even though getting dressed in camo is simulating Mil.
So yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on with the Boss unit. Otherwise, I haven't been playing much. I should also add with the dating app version, the battery is going to be stored in the Boss unit itself. So when you take the plastic handguard off of the M203, that is the Boss unit, there's actually this really nice gap. There's this nice empty space between the actual gas reservoir and this back wall by the trigger guard area. And you can fit an HPA LiPo in there. It's probably going to require the end user to Dremel a little tiny gap in their handguard so that they can route the wires out. There won't be 0 wires hanging out, because there never is 0 wires hanging out with the Boss unit, because there is a cable coming out of your gun going into there. But it'll be neat. It'll be manageable. And it's going to allow you to put the Boss unit on your gun without even taking your gun apart, which is very neat. So that way, if you're not completely sold on the Boss unit, you want to test it out, but you don't want to pay a tech a whole bunch of money to like gut your gun and rewire it and then tell you, oh, well, your air nozzle's also bad too. We got to change that.
Yeah.
your air filter needs to be changed.
You got a unicorn in your cylinder. It's just jumping around, poking holes. They got to change that out.
Yeah. It'll be the quick free trial version. Now, you will run into the same problem as far as the semi-auto and full auto as you would with just the Kythera. So you can choose to make it just semi-only. A lot of airsofters might just opt for that because they're not allowed to go full auto on rifles in most places, in most cases. Or you can just kind of play with it, keep it on semi, but let the Boss unit go full auto. Might get you yelled at by players who think you're going full auto, but there's immersions there. So it's going to be up to the end user how they want to do that. But it's just another option, really. I just want to see all the different ways we can get it attached to a bunch of different guns, because ultimately I just want to play a game where there's like 20 people on each team with the Boss unit, and it's just pure chaos. I just want to be a part of that.
It'll be dope.
Yep.
It'll be dope.
So that's all I got for the Boss unit stuff right now.
Geez, talk forever about the Boss unit. Geez,
Yeah.
We just said this isn't a Boss unit commercial.
Yeah. Do we have any comments, Jordan?
There were some. I had to jump off for a second, so I'm gonna have to go over to your phone.
All right.
What do we got?
Good job.
Sorry, my mom texted me.
Nobody cares about your mom.
Mom's spaghetti.
Jamie, you're hurting today, boy.
Yeah, you're right.
Damn.
There's a lot of people watching.
He went up to a cabin for one weekend, comes back, he forgets how to.
Okay, so
Gets
we
up to
got.
scroll through the Instagrams and the Tic Tacs.
Yeah, tell me about it. Okay, so somebody said, "Too bad Formlabs killed the desktop SLS printer." Tactical Parts said, "I've got a Boss coming. It's going to be barrel mounted. Plan is to steal the hardware from an airsoft launcher if there's no options available."
I
But
think that I don't
we
think
kind of
the lineup-
covered that. Yeah,
Yeah.
So like the plastic one didn't work, but we got a metal one. We're going to try that next.
Well, the plastic one, you just have to drill new holes, right?
Yeah, but the holes are so close together that it would turn the existing hole into an oval. Which
Yeah,
You can make it work.
Yeah,
you can totally make it. If you have a
get a-
Dremel and some finesse.
a washer.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, it'll
It's
be
fine.
a lot of stuff about 3D printing. Somebody said there's a bug under your skin.
Huh?
Yeah.
Nice. The bug under your skin.
Yeah,
There's a snake in my
Rich
boot.
just commented, "Can you put the RDX on a high kappa?"
Can you put the RDX on the high? Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Yes, you can.
Oh yeah, that's right. Somebody asked about the smoke cans. So they wanted to know what was going on with those because we were showing them off earlier in the summer.
Smokey Wolf.
Yeah, so I gotta film a video on that just to kind of fill in my end of the deal because they sent us that for free. Not to spoil it, I do like it. I have one serious gripe that I don't think is going to be fixed before they start shipping, but I think we're still going to start selling them in the shop soon. My gripe with it is if you use like an Ace Tech or the E-Shooter or even the T238 tracer units, the diode that actually the BB trips when it goes through the barrel and tells the unit to function is an IR light, and it's a small one. With the Smokey Wolf, it is green, it is bright, and it was enough that if I just pointed my muzzle at the ground during a night game, I had a blinking light coming out of my gun. And from a night vision user, I didn't love that.
Well, but But with the naked eye, though, how was it?
It was still pretty bright. Like if I was pointing my muzzle at you from 100 feet away, you'd see it.
That was a con.
That was my gripe.
Yeah, and that's not a quick fix either. They'd have to change the whole.
They would have to change the whole design. And from talking with the gentleman that's importing them, that would not be fixed anytime soon. So I think we're still going to sell them, but for night vision users, they're not going to love that.
And it like works way better at night too.
It works really well. And even during the day though, like during a lot of the testing we did, which was during the day, it works really well. It actually puts out usable smoke to the point where I started to notice it. Like it was cool. I really like it. I love the fact that it can fit inside of a can. It comes with one, but I could drop it into any of my pre-existing cans.
Yeah.
What I still have to try though is, so this one's reversed. Normally when you put a drop-in unit inside of an airsoft suppressor, it's get that tracer unit as close to the barrel as physically possible and then put a spring to keep it back. This one's the opposite because they want the smoke to come out of the barrel. So spring, then the tracer unit as far forward. I'm wondering what happens if I push it to the rear, if that light's going to still be an issue.
I wonder if you put like a wipe or like a flap.
I tried that.
Well, I
tried the flap. It did not let the smoke out.
Yeah. Makes sense. Also, did it have any effect on your BB?
No.
Oh, weird.
And even after putting about 5,000 to 10,000 rounds through my Kythera, we cleaned the barrel and there was not a noticeable difference.
Wow.
Yeah. And I will say this summer I switched to shooting 3.2s instead of 4.0s because of the Boss system. I'm now shooting exponentially more ammo, cheaper BBs. But I still didn't see any crazy deviation in shots, like shooting my Kythera without it versus with it. Same trajectory, same impact, no crazy deviation, no wear and tear on the parts. I thought there would be. Like, honestly, I thought going into it, like, hey, this basically vape juice going through my gun is going to give me an issue. It hasn't.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's good.
But overall, cool product. Love the idea. Love the design, except for that green diode. That's the problem. And I have yet to run out of the vape juice during the game. I've only filled it once. It came with 2 full bottles. I've only filled it once.
Huh.
And I play a lot.
I wonder, we should like put that on an AEG and just run it full auto and see how long it goes.
We could.
Yeah.
We could. I mean, you would need the BBs to feed it, so I would put it on an LMG.
Yeah.
We tested it on Tyler's Mark 46. It looks really good on an LMG.
Oh, I bet.
But by the time you're already like 50 to 60 rounds in, now you're just spitting smoke. Like,
oh, sure.
It's not the 1 or 2 like, oh, the smoke's coming out of the barrel. Like if you're using a rifle with an LMG, it just basically turns into a flamethrower on the end of your gun.
That is so freaking
Which is cool. I have a video clip of it. We could put it on screen. But that's kind of my gripe with it is the green diode. Everything else, love it. Based off of the size, just kind of picturing it, it would fit inside of my Surefire can. It would fit inside of the B&T can.
That's my favorite thing about it. It's the fact that it's not a whole suppressor. It's like, it comes with a suppressor, a mock suppressor, but the actual device is a insert. So you can insert it into a whole bunch of different cans.
Yeah. I'm going to try it with like the 3 or 4 most popular ones. I'm pretty confident in saying it's going to fit in all of them.
Yeah.
You're just going to need different size spacers, maybe electrical tape just to, stop it from wiggling around.
Yep.
But
and the easiest thing to design and print is a spacer to make a tracer fit inside of a can. It's just a cylinder.
Yeah.
With certain diameters. So it's very easy, very quick to make.
Somebody said they saw that the unit had issues with barrel strikes when it was set back. I honestly, so like with tracer units, you want them as far back as you can. It sounds like they were probably using too long of a mock suppressor, which that would be more likely to cause barrel strikes.
Yeah,
if you're overhopping,
but that happens a lot, like even today.
Yeah,
barrel strikes happen when your inner barrel is wobbling inside of your outer barrel, and that can easily be fixed with like some aluminum tape or some Teflon tape, and then you want to make sure your muzzle device isn't wobbly, and then you want to make sure your can is not wobbly on that muzzle device, or
that your gun has a plastic body,
or if it's direct thread. You just want to make sure it's all solid.
Yeah, and then Rich asked what flavor the vape juice was. We were actually advised. Banana. Well, so that was the fun thing. I made that joke. We were advised not to use flavored vape juice because that could corrode the waterproofing on the electronics.
Do you hear that, vapors?
Yeah, which is funny because like
corrodes a waterproofing. The mucus lining in your lungs is a water vapor. Like,
yeah,
corrode.
Yeah, they're like, don't put flavored juices in because it could corrode the electronics. I'm like, interesting.
Old Philip Morris was like, yeah, they're killing the cigarettes. Let's just invent vaping.
You know how there's like
this is better.
There's like a bridge between.
And now we're shadow banned again.
Yeah, right. Now, yeah.
There's like a bridge between like airsofters and like the vapists. That's like a hobby vapists, right?
Uh-oh.
You know that bridge? Like you see a lot of airsofters that have like custom vapes and stuff. I feel like that's died down a bit, but that was definitely more prevalent. Like,
Okay.
10 years
It's
ago.
funny.
Can we
because-
talk about competition vaping?
Yeah.
Oh, small PP energy.
It's the most low T shit I've ever seen. Are you kidding me? You can puff more smoke. Like at least the men who smoked Marlboros realized like, yeah, I can blow smoke rings, but it's just to pick up bitches. You know what I mean? Like they didn't try to make a fucking sport out of it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Vapors are like, look, I could shoot it out of 2 different sides of my mouth. Look how big the cloud is. You're obnoxious.
It's so much like it's just another form of life. Like,
Dude.
like the way I build airsoft guns, and I'm just like, I got these 13-1 gears
And
in
you have
this
to
motor.
polish your gearbox shells.
Polish the gearbox shell. These vapors are just like, yeah, I got this mod in there. It helps me rip fat clouds. And
It's like
you
a
can-
gas engine
like,
on it.
But they're starting to do electrical engineering on their vapes. Like they're actually learning usable skills
Yeah.
for the sake of vaping, that's fine. But
Their
like
lungs are shriveled prunes, but
you've said, there's a professional level to everything.
You're right.
There are
You're right.
professional.
Oh, he got you.
There are
You're the right one.
professional vape modders, man.
nah,
it's
you're the
real.
right one.
You know, but seeing now that we get to put vapes on airsoft guns, it's like watching people put like Halloween costumes on their dogs.
Yeah, but it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
Like now my
Halloween
gun is
every
vaping
weekend.
too.
no, but think about this, okay? Flavored vapes are not safe for guns.
Yes, they're
But
not
go
safe
ahead.
for
No,
guns.
just inhale the fuck out of that, though. Out of your little robot dick. You know what I mean? Think about that.
You can
it'll
clean a
damage-
toilet
it'll
with
damage the-
Coca-Cola.
Well, I don't drink Coke, so that's
Yeah.
Ah, now
Is it-
Dave's on the high horse of healthiness. I love it.
No, look at me. Yeah. I am the model of health. That's for sure.
There's a lot of things that you consume every day that you can kill rust with. Or create rust with.
Yeah, like WD-40.
Like water. You can create rust with water. And we drink that shit every fucking day.
I know that's dangerous, right?
We drink it every day.
You know, 100% of serial killers drank water.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Do you know that if you inhale too much dihydrogen monoxide, water, you will drown and die? I think we should ban water.
You're right. Actually, there was a commenter that told me.
Gatorade doesn't do that shit, and it has electrolytes.
Oh, wait.
right.
Do we want to talk about that?
Yeah,
The dude that said we were Nazis because we enforced the water rule?
yeah, he died on that hill.
Yeah, he was telling moms in the comments to like no.
Crazy.
No. So this was last summer.
Like how many times you get dropped on your head to die on the hill of you shouldn't drink water
Oh.
when you're dehydrated.
Okay, so like on the real.
Holy
Last
shit.
summer I posted a thing about, hey, you need to drink water if you're going to play at the field. And this dude was adamant. We were Nazis because we enforced the water.
You can't tell me what to drink. No,
That's
I
fine,
can't.
dude.
I
Well,
actually
no, like
can.
that's okay. Like
When
drink
you're
water.
here.
Like you have to drink water. You can drink Gatorade. Anthony was just drinking a Red Bull. That's
Yeah.
fine. Like have a cup of coffee. But when you're on the field, you need water. But nope, he was going to die on the hill. It's not okay that we enforce that. I don't think I ever saw him play here again.
I don't know who it was.
Oh, I do. I would have to go back and pull up a photo.
Who dies on that hill?
Well,
I-
the crazy part is the argument that this beverage that's not water is more hydrating than water.
You're talking about a different comment.
I'm talking about the one from last summer
He's
where
going
the guy
for-
literally
yeah.
called us.
They're all the same person.
They are all the same.
like that.
They are the main character.
that
Yeah.
argument fundamentally.
I lifted weights once and I read an Instagram ad. I know how to hydrate.
Fundamentally, the argument is that this drink that's not water is more hydrating than water. But the definition of hydrating is for something to absorb water.
What is the meaning of hydro, the Latin word of hydro?
Oh, hold on. Side note. The guy that we got the Smokey Wolf through is in the comments.
Hey!
Yeah, he's here.
Smokey
But he also
Wolf.
did just say his phone's dying. He
no.
said the light is not actually for tripping the BB. It's a status indicator to make sure that the unit's on.
Oh, man.
So
Can
they
we
But
should-
they're working on fixing it.
just cut the wire.
The Smoky Wolf should have an app like the e-shooter tracer.
And
Oh,
he,
come on.
He did say don't put vape juice in it.
Yeah, see? That shit is bad.
And he did say he was finalizing the bottle/cap choices for the refill oils, so he'll send a few bottles when it's set. Yeah, I actually have to sit down and do a review on that and like kind of go over what it is because I love the product. That green LED is killing me. Besides that, great unit. Like I actually enjoy it, and I didn't totally forget about it. It's just been a busy summer.
And
Yeah.
the Smoky Wolf says you should drink water.
And you should drink water.
He's a
Only
water
you
guy.
can help prevent forest fires.
Although I have to call you out, Dave.
Oh, let's hear it.
The hydrate or dihydrate shirt is an oxymoron.
Yeah, because he's got like a martini glass.
No,
because it's a
no,
black cotton
it's a
shirt.
black cotton shirt.
So, get good.
Well,
It's a skill issue.
Yeah. I wore all black in fucking Georgia.
Well, that was a Velocity System shirt. Excuse me, sir.
Okay, yeah, you're right. But still, in like 96 degrees, 80% humidity. Has to be.
The problem with wearing black clothing.
The problem
with wearing black clothing during the summer.
yeah.
It does not reflect light. It absorbs light. It makes you more hot, makes you sweat more, makes you more dehydrated.
Yeah.
So
have you ever worn a white shirt before?
I can't.
No, I'd ruin it.
Yeah.
The day somebody heatcast is wearing a hydrate or dihydrate shirt.
It'll be it'll be
no, because everyone that heatcasts wears jeans and a hoodie on
now,
90-degree days.
Now,
like, I'm sorry, it has to be said. Like, we can eyeball you and know, hey, yeah, that one.
Yeah, at the morning safety brief, you're like, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. It's just I can pick you out of a crowd, and it's because you're wearing the wrong things on the wrong day.
If you're wearing a hoodie during the summer because you think airsoft hurts, I promise you, heat stroke hurts worse.
Yes.
It's way worse.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Also, the beanie. The beanie.
Yeah,
during
what's with
summer?
the beanies in the summertime?
Well, there seems to be a lot of dye-4s being also.
Well,
yeah.
But either way, like wearing that, I have to explain this to rental players all the time because we give them the full face mask and I'm like, hey, this is going to fog. Do you want to do goggles instead? And they're like, no, I want the full face protection. And then you immediately see them put their hood up or pull their beanie out. And I'm like, don't wear that.
It's the same as putting a plastic bag over your head.
Yeah. Like
I want to be protected.
Your body puts out heat through your head, your armpits, your groin. Like, stop. You're constricting all the heat up there. Don't do that.
Doesn't hurt that bad, man. It just doesn't hurt that bad.
Airsoft.
Yeah.
But then that one guy shooting hot.
Now, in their defense, most of the time it's first-time airsofters, and they're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, man. And they take the hood off.
Yeah.
But, like, if you've been playing airsoft for, like, more than 2 days, you should have figured this one out.
Dude, there was every year when it gets hot in July.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks. During that period when it was like in the 90s, I can't tell you how many people were wearing hoodies, and I was just like, hey, take that off.
Yeah, please.
Just take it off, dude. Like, it's ridiculous. They're at the safety brief sweating bullets.
Yeah.
Because they're wearing a hoodie. It's usually a black hoodie too. Like it's like the common
or the navy blue one.
Oh
you get
man,
at Walmart for
fleece lines. Jesus Christ!
Like Walmart carries these all year round, and I know you went and bought it because you didn't want to ruin any of your normal clothes playing airsoft.
There's a starter kit for heat casting. It's Red Bulls in the morning, not drinking water at night, not drinking water during the day, or rather a full water bottle in their pouch so that they brought the water up on the field.
Yeah,
but
just
they're
gets them
not
on the field.
drinking it.
Yep.
Black hoodie, sweatpants, a beanie. Like everything just to make your body into a raisin. Like all the water will.
I don't understand why I'm heat casting. I drank a whole 2 liter of soda last night.
There's water in soda.
A player literally said that to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like
as he heat cast.
Yeah, as he
and
he was wearing a black hoodie and jeans on a 95-degree day. He said that.
Yeah. Damn it.
I don't understand. I drank a whole 2 liter of soda. Motherfucker.
Yeah, you can't survive in jeans during the summer until you hit Prestige.
Prestige 10.
Prestige 10.
I would say 20.
I don't know, man. Modern
Prestige
Warfare 2 only went to 10.
Prestige 15. We'll meet in the middle.
Was that Black Ops 2?
I don't know. Nobody plays Call of Duty. Call of Duty's trash. Hot take. Call of Duty's a trash game.
It used to be great.
Flame me in the comments.
But the Arma servers are trash too.
Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. No,
Brandon's here.
Dude, all the comments are just gonna be like, this fucking boomer, he doesn't know shit.
No, somebody said that's adrenaline versus no adrenaline. That's fair.
What? I don't get it.
14 gauge needles hurt more than BBs. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, more about the Smokey Wolf. High hopes for Black Ops. Yeah, no. Call of Duty's gone downhill. I'm sorry, John. I know you commented that, but no.
Call of Duty.
If only the Arma servers worked properly.
I know. Such a good game. It's so promising.
Because we tried.
I'm crossing my fingers for Arma 4. We just transitioned into video game talk now. It's fine.
If only Gray Zone didn't suck too.
Gray Zone doesn't suck. It's
not there
just
yet.
Early. Yeah. The idea of Gray Zone is much better than the game is right now. But
I had an unrelated question.
Hold on. I have to make a pee-pee.
It's
so you're
totally
going to have to
unrelated.
Yeah, you're going to have to unrelate your question.
Okay, so wait. Dave will go use the bathroom. Live stream's still going. I'm going to reset the cameras. You and I will talk to the camera.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
See? Bam.
And I'll grab the envelopes that came in the mail for
for
the 2 new businesses that opened up on the property that we have to announce. So,
do we want to talk about the mail now, or do we want to wait for
let's
Dave?
talk about the mail now.
Oh boy.
So,
this does not mean by any form continue to do this, but it is fucking hilarious.
The more businesses we have here, the more Zulu 24 Tactical Park turns into Zulu 24 Trailer Park. We have 2 new businesses. So we have mail here from both from American Express.
They're pre-approved loans.
Pre-approved loans for these new businesses. Hopefully get them started on the right foot. The first one is to, and they had their grand opening not too long ago, CQB City. CQB City is located, guess where? It's located in CQB City on the field. So we're in the parking lot.
When you Google Maps it.
Yeah, when you Google Map CQB City, you will find it. Somebody decided, screw ATAC, I'm going to use Google Maps. And they permanently marked CQB City. So now CQB City gets mail. They're getting loan offers. Next to that, we have Haji Camp. Haji Camp is another business located on the field, right? Now, Haji Camp is a competing outdoor store, giving Zulu Outdoor a run for their money, right?
But it's an outdoor store.
It's an outdoor store.
Yeah,
Zulu Outdoor is an outdoor store. Haji Camp is selling, you guessed it, they're selling man jams, they're selling tents.
No, they're
selling hookahs.
AKs.
Shadow banned immediately. Dude, you should put that up to the camera so that people can see that who's this? American Express is sending mail.
They're both Amex.
Yep.
Is sending mail to Haji Camp
and CQB City.
CQB City. Like, what the hell? No. We don't.
I had it focused.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
We definitely don't just blindly send shit to people. Are you kidding me?
And CQB City.
So this is the consequence of one or more people saying, screw ATAC, I'm using Google Maps, and American Express.
No, you know what it is.
And American Express, I guess, using AI to figure out where they can send junk mail to.
No, you know what this is? This is the field at Zulu 24 is becoming its own like microcosm.
There's going to be a third one soon because somebody marked African Village as a spot on Google Maps.
Oh my God. Amex, please send mail to African Village.
It's going to be awesome.
Holy shit, dude.
The mailbox at the end of the row was already full. Now it's going to be packed.
Like people from this, like if this keeps going, people from the census are going to come here and be like, where's the town?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like where's the small village that should be back here?
Wait. They're judging by the amount of American Express stuff. There should be 40,000 people living over here. Where are they?
Those businesses are going to get audited because they don't have like actual licenses or resale certificates. They're going to get audited. There's nobody there. They're going to be like, I don't know. They just picked up and left.
they just left.
Like, what are you running a carnival here? They up and left. What do you mean?
Yeah. They saw you coming in the driveway and they just booked it, man. I don't know.
It turns into
check
one
CQB
of those.
City. They might be. they skipped town. They went over to Newtown.
I think we're gonna
hiding
need
an embassy.
We're gonna need Zulu PD to round up all the neighbors.
Yeah, go talk to the sheriff over at the embassy. He'll take care of it.
We'll go to the mosque and pray for their return.
Yeah.
Spicy.
So my unrelated question was, for Crossroads, if my gun is painted multicam, can I be on the civilian faction?
Oh God, Anthony.
So wait, so does this mean I can wear multicam for open play too, right?
Dave's gonna himself.
This is your opportunity to just say it. Just say, like,
can I say something first?
those are the rules.
Go ahead.
I feel like we did it right by lining up all of my camo and just being like, hey, look,
there were 40 pairs of camo there.
I know I have a problem. Don't judge me.
Oh,
but
I'm right there with you.
We lined them all up, and I'm still getting DMs that are like, can I wear this specific camo? Yes.
Yeah, man. It's literally one team is anything you want. You could wear a fucking banana costume.
You can wear an all black.
You could wear a cowboy hat.
You could literally work out. You could come dressed as John Wayne if you want.
Lever gun and all.
Yeah.
Whole nine. But then people that are messaging are like, wait, for the American Resistance Forces, can I wear this ghillie? Can I wear this leaf top?
Thank God it's already sold out.
Can I wear Digiflora? Yeah, bro, you can. Wait, so for the American Task Force 13, they're standard multicam only. Yeah. Can I wear ghillie tops? Dave, can I wear a ghillie top?
No.
Can I wear a cowboy hat?
Bro.
No, it's got to be faction
But
specific.
my Tom Clancy character is wearing all multicam with the exception of his cowboy hat.
You could wear all black on the American Resistance Forces. You could be Sam Fisher. You
just can't wear multicam black.
But you could wear all black. You could wear Cryptek black. You could wear black with gray spray paint lines on it. It just can't be multicam black.
You can literally.
You could be Sam Fisher.
You could come in your underwear and spray paint camo onto your body.
Yeah.
So in the past,
you could wear the white Cryptek. It's not multicam Alpine, it's white Cryptek.
Yeah.
For the live stream viewers, in the past, a lot of Zulu events were green versus tan.
Yeah.
And because multicam has multiple
Was a
patterns in it, green and tan, they were just like, you could wear anything except for multicam, so that if you're on green, you wear green camos or just green. And if you're on tan, you wear tan camos or just tan. And it was like, just don't wear multicam for this event. And the comments they'd get were like, wait, is multicam banned at Zulu open play?
Yeah, oh
like,
God.
No, it's at this event, no multicam. So now he's switching it up. He's saying, hey, we're going to have a whole team that is multicam, but just no iteration of multicam. So like no multicam black, no multicam tropic, no multicam.
Standard.
Yeah, just standard multicam. The whole team is just standard multicam. It's the easiest multicam to find.
It's cheapest.
The other team can wear anything. Anything.
Except for
multicam
variants.
and its variants.
Well, and there's some thought behind that too.
And
right?
and
So-
there's still comments that are
So
like,
wait, I actually have a legitimate question
Sure.
because somebody brought it up. Does that include OCP, Scorpion, and the British multicam?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a legitimate question.
Yeah. It's all the same, dude. I mean, let's be
Yeah,
real.
I know.
Scorpion is multicam.
But it's 10% different because the government didn't want to pay cry.
Sure.
about the Russian multicam.
That's multicam.
You just said the word multicam. So yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like here's the idea behind it, right? So we did green versus tan when we allowed multicam. If they were wearing a green gear, they looked green. If they were wearing tan gear, they looked tan. So we're just like, fuck it. Let's just too many arguments. I don't care. Like just fucking get rid of it, right? And then over the years, it's like the tan team really is at a disadvantage, right? There's not a lot of good tan camos that, well, really none of them are going to fucking blend in, right? And so green team's tickets would sell out like this, boom, and then it's like, oh, it's like this slug. Whereas at least with multicam, it fucking works.
Yeah.
Like the camouflage actually works as a camouflage, right? It's distinct enough, and if nobody else is wearing any sort of variants, it's easy enough to tell, right? However, you still have to be a good teammate and know who's around you. You know what I mean? Like you do have to ID targets. It's just, I wanted to bring it back.
You know something I feel like is lost with Airsoft now, and I've kind of seen
Intelligence. Oh, sorry.
Bullying.
I've seen, well, that's part of it, and that's also part of it. Not enough bullying, not enough intelligence, probably because of the lack of bullying, but I feel like back in the day, like when I first started playing Airsoft at Zulu's old location, I feel like before a game started, the team would gather around and be like, all right, guys, what's the plan? Like, we're playing Army, right? We're like, what's the
but
plan?
now you're cringe if you do that. Because
Right.
we've created a society where if you're serious about something, you're cringe. If you're too goofy about something, you're also cringe.
Yeah, don't be serious about, I'm talking about mission planning.
I know,
Right? And
it's
having
great.
like a BS op board and making a terrain model. I actually think that stuff's really cool. And
Artistic.
I think that if you do it in a sense where you don't think you're a Navy SEAL while you do it, you're just thinking like, hey, this is a game, and this is a game where we can capture objectives and win, even though there's no winners in Airsoft, right? Airsoft is the friends you make along the way, but
That's true.
It's the that we leave behind.
it's the we leave behind.
So prime example of
I'd
this
like
is,
to see more mission planning. I
Sure.
feel like it died down.
What about a
I think you're
leadership
right, actually.
Because the game will start and people just go off into their random directions, and then when their team starts getting swamped, they're just like, "We're getting." I watch morale die. They're just like, "I'm just gonna get off now and eat
Yeah,
lunch in the
but-
parking lot, or like just stop
But
playing."
that
today."
requires somebody step up and take charge.
Right.
Sure,
And then
maybe that's us.
anybody trying to like be leadership or take charge or be commander during
Yeah, but what kind of credentials do they
during
have?
Airsoft game, it's like.
During Airsoft.
But here's at old Zulu, I remember I was like 15 and I was just like, hey guys, this is the plan. And everybody just listened to me because they were just in the spirit of the game. They're like, yeah, we'll follow this kid. And I remember like we took an objective and it was all me coordinating where we go and how we move and us being quiet and hand signals. And it was not official hand signals. I just made it up. But like it was a really fun
That was,
core Airsoft memory. And
that
I
was
was
your peak airsoft moment.
yeah, and
Well, it could
it's not
also
like
be-
I'm leadership and I'm commander. I was just a 15-year-old kid that was like, guys, come on.
Yeah, but you stepped up.
It was enthusiasm.
It could also be rose-colored glasses as well.
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean when I say that?
No, we took the objective. We took the
It could be
UN
that.
objective.
But like, okay, so side tangent, that's similar.
Yeah.
Probably 2 months ago.
Yeah.
We were playing a game. It was Conquest. I remember you were playing because you had even radioed and you're like, where's the other team? And I was reffing and I'm just like, they're in their spawn.
Yeah.
And I walked over to their spawn, literally grabbed everyone there. And I was like, hey, I have no reason to do this, but I'm going to teach you guys how to run tactics real quick so you can take the embassy. And it was just as simple as explaining, there's a dude with a minigun. You're going to be a base of fire. You're just going to shoot. And he's like, okay, should I start shooting? No. Don't shoot until you need to. But all these dudes are now going to start running up to that building, and they're going to start clearing that building. And if they start getting shot at, you have a fucking minigun. And he's like, roger that. And that's what they did. Yeah. And when they got there, they all stopped and they're like, okay, cool, but ref, what do we do from here? And I was like, cool, now let's talk about moving from a building through open terrain. And I explained that to him. And I was like, hey, now you're going to push up this hill. Everybody get online, go over this ridge. And if you see a dude, shoot the dude. And look, they pushed through. But it took one guy coming over and being like, here's what you need to do.
Sure.
And it's airsofters, because we've created a society where if you're too serious, you're cringe. And if you're too goofy about it, you're also cringe. There's no middle ground. It's just airsofters having their own main character. There needs to be some way for people to understand, oh, we should listen to that guy.
Well, or just being effective, right? And there's also communication that involves in that is part of that. So being that 15-year-old kid, the way that you communicate your plan it has a lot to do with like how people receive it, right? People text and do all this shit, so they don't really know how to communicate with people, or they think that leadership is yelling. And so whoever
if you're yelling, you've lost.
Yeah, whoever is the loudest is the rightest. That was the joke in the Marine Corps, and only when we were talking about bad leaders. Anyway, but the delivery of like, you can just be like, "Hey guys, you want to try this?" It's as simple as that. Hey guys, you want to try? And people love working together. Actually, I was listening to the Storm Riders podcast, right? So the Storm Riders are a team based out of Newfoundland, Canada. The airsoft scene, like a big day for them is like 30 or 40 dudes, right? And they all came together and they bought tickets to go to Guardian Center in Georgia. And they did a bunch of podcasts about it. You should go listen to it. It's actually pretty good. And they were talking about, because this is kind of their first time at an event like that. And they were talking about being excited about hearing the radio chatter. That's awesome, right? Like those are the little things that I think a lot of us lose over the repetitions, right? You just stop listening to the radio. It's also not as cool to hear somebody say like,
people don't carry radios as much anymore.
I
see less players come
as
a group and run comms together.
I'll be honest with you. Inter squad comms are kind of not needed.
Right.
Your squad leader should have comms with your commander.
Yeah, agreed.
And then everything else is hand and arm signals or voice, right? Yeah. Because that keeps the team together. As soon as you have radios, you feel like you can get further apart, which reduces your effectiveness because this is airsoft and these guns only shoot, 300 feet for like the best fucking gun. Yeah. And you really need that concentration of firepower in airsoft specifically to be effective. And I think radios give people a false sense to be able to like go further out. And you can still do those things because everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, but then you can't set up a base of fire and flank. You can do that.
Yeah.
With hand and arm signals and all that shit. You can really do it. But
I think
it was just very refreshing to hear somebody be excited again about the minutia of a quote unquote milsim game. Just by hearing the radio chatter, like, oh, first squad, I need this and that and this and that. And that's kind of what you're tapping into is you miss the planning. You miss the mill of the sim.
Right. Right. I was attending summer training with West Point cadets, and I was in the exercise as an unarmed civilian hired asset. We were like operating drones for them. And as the groups of cadets were rotating in every day a new group would come in and they'd do two iterations of this exercise. They'd take turns attacking and defending this objective. And we were just there. We went to whichever team we went to, and we had this tech. And we would talk to the platoon leaders, which were cadets. Some of them were being graded, some of them weren't. Some of them were about to graduate, some of them weren't. And how they chose to use the drones was up to them. So we got to see a lot of different approaches, but the biggest part about us being a part of those teams for this exercise was they had comms that they were issued and they didn't work a lot of the time. And then we brought our Baofangs and little Motorola radios. So we're issuing out like little hand radios to the platoon leaders, and just having that communication with the PL for them to communicate with this drone asset really shaped how things unfolded. As they made their mission plan, but then the moment firefights started to happen, they were able to make real changes in real time and adapt. And both teams were doing that. And it made it really fun. I was there without a gun and I was having fun, just like making call outs on the radio, watching how things unfolded, and seeing just squad movement within a larger platoon to get this objective done. And it's something I feel like there was a sense of that in airsoft back in the day, where like we attempted to do that, and kind of seeing it happen with like some cadets that were kind of trained on it and taught how to do it, and now they're practicing it for a grade. It made me like kind of fall in love with it a little bit, where I'd like to see that happen again. I think it'd be cool. Like airsoft content, instructional content gets very focused on like, look at this cool gun and the cool mods, or look at this cool camo and the cool gear. But there's not a lot of tactics-based stuff. And if it is, it's just like regurgitated CQB tactics that like GBRS shows, like how to clear a room in CQB for airsoft. But like, what if there was like, and they could be shorts, like 30-second videos, just like, this is how you...
Contact front.
This is how you... Yeah, exactly.
This is a staggered column.
Right. This is a staggered column. What do you do when you take contact? Or like, you know, how can communication be disseminated, you know, down in a bigger team so that you can actually have large group movement planning and execution of stuff. Now, some people will take it too seriously and it could be cringe. But if you step back and just realize that it's still not serious, it's no more serious than you buying a real Cry AVS to play airsoft. You know, if you're going to buy a real Cry AVS to play airsoft and have all the real lights on your gun and a real EOTech, you're already very serious for this game. And that's fine, and we've kind of accepted that. But like, I think we should feel the same way about like tactics, because it's a social thing. It's like the social thing that's not being exploited enough for fun, like for the fun of just, it's a group activity.
Well, and you can tell immediately, right? When a group of guys or a team, when they come together for like regular open play, for like full field conquest, and you get, I mean, how do you be effective in airsoft? Get 12 guys all facing in the same direction. I mean, really, that's it, right? And then you see them. There was I hate to tell airsoft stories, but there was like a day where like Eric and all those guys were here, and then a lot of our guys were here, and we were on the same team, and we like joined up and did laps around this field because we just worked together, right? And we were only like 20 dudes, right? And there was probably 150 people here that day. So percentage-wise, we didn't represent a large percentage of our team, or even people on the field, but because we were all willing to work together, even though we were two different groups, we were willing to work together, even if we didn't have the same SOPs or whatever the hell. The fact that we were all facing the same direction and shooting was like overwhelming for anybody in front of us.
Yeah,
and I think it's the willingness to work.
Flying Vs,
man, and
Flying Vs.
And I think like a lot of airsoft teams, right? They're usually like their numbers are somewhere in the realm of 12 people, you know, and I feel like there's a little bit of elitism that happens, and it happens with us too. Like a little bit of elitism that happens, like, oh, you're not part of the team, like, you know, yeah, you go do that and we'll go do this, and then they just like completely fuck off and whatever. But in actuality, like the way that you need to think about airsoft at any event is that your team is a team of Green Berets, right? And what's a Green Beret's job? Green Beret's job is to go behind enemy lines and establish a militia force and lead them in, right? So maybe that's the mentality you have to take, is that like your team, your 12 guys that all have the same radios and all wear multicam Arid or whatever the fuck, are embedded with this militia force. So everybody else is militia force. So you use them, and by using them, you become a more formidable force, because now all of a sudden you're all working together. Right. And that's the mentality, as opposed to being like, we're SEAL Team 6 and fuck anybody that isn't.
Yeah. You
have to think about it like you're a Green Beret squad, which I don't even know if they do that, but, and you're working with indigenous forces or militia or whatever the fuck, or sister partner forces or whatever. And that's how you are maneuvering through the field. And we just don't.
Yeah.
We just don't.
And I also feel like when I first started playing airsoft, I'd look to the more experienced players, which was really anybody with the play carrier at the time. And I would kind of follow their lead. And if they told me to do something, I'd do it. And to me, that was fun, because it sure as hell beat running off alone and just getting schwacked in the face, you know? And there's less of that, because like a lot of times when new players come in, I notice a lot of the new players that try out airsoft these days that end up sticking around, they come with the small group and they continue to play with that small group.
Yeah.
And so socially, they're kind of satiated. Like they have their group, They have their friends. They don't have to kind of venture out just to feel like, hey, I'm hanging out with people right now, because they have that. Versus back in the day, I mean, convincing friends to go play airsoft before, for me, was kind of hard. I mean, I was fairly young, and it was kind of hard to get other 15-year-olds at the time, the same age as me at that time, to be like, hey, you want to run around in the woods and play with these expensive airsoft guns that you probably don't own right now?
Yeah.
You know, so I got really into it, and then I'd go there alone, and I would just meet up with people and make friends that way. And I think because there's less of that, there's less like, hey, let's get this group and just have them inject into what we're doing. Oftentimes when you do that, they just end up wandering off and doing their own thing anyway. And also the elitism, like you mentioned, is also there. I've witnessed some players like not want to let new players roll with them as they do stuff.
Sure.
Because, you know, when an inexperienced kid is like walking too loudly in the woods, or they're talking really loud, they're just like, shh, and they get like really mad. They get mad and intense, like, shh, you're going to ruin it, you know? But like, let them do it. You know, if I'm playing with some friends and I see some like newer players that want to roll with us, I'm just like, hell yeah, come in. I'm just like, no, remember, like, we don't want to like snap twigs when we walk, right? Because like they'll give us away. Like, I'm not like upset if they do it. It's a game, you know. And
well, sure. And then
they're having fun. I'm having fun.
There's like a mentoring aspect as well, right? So even if, okay, you think you're SEAL Team 6 or whatever the fuck, and you're going through the woods and you got some rentals coming up behind you, you know, talking because they're having a good time. This is cool for them. This is like something they don't do every day, and they're excited. And oh my god, where do you think the bad guys are? Whatever the fuck. It's a very simple fix, and I've done it before, and it works every time. You go up to them like, hey guys, I know you're having a great time, but let's try to keep it quiet, right? Because we're trying to move forward. We're trying to spot them before they spot us. But if they hear us before they see us, they know which direction we're coming from. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just a little bit of mentoring, just a very little bit of mentoring goes a long way.
And you can sell it by being like, hey guys, like, this is your first time playing? They're like, yeah. Like,
cool. Come with us.
Like, you want to get a lot of kills?
Yeah.
Like, follow me.
Come with us. We're going to go die on African
I'll
village.
show you the way. Although I do see, to counter what I was saying, there is a particular group of new players that I will see other players mentor and teach, and it is the younger, newer crowd. And I saw a hilarious Reddit thread talking about it, and this guy was like, oh yeah, when I play, I like to just send a whole bunch of kids out. You know, when I find a new group of kids, I tell them like, go over there, and they're just like, yeah, and they run in and do it, and they're so short when they're running that, like, you know, the cover that the enemy is behind, like, they don't even see the kid running up, and you see these kids put work in, and they're just like, yeah, I call them child soldiers,
child
you know?
soldiers.
So you see child soldiers get used a lot because they have the enthusiasm usually to listen to you, even if they come in as a group. But like other adults coming in, you know, you're dealing with different personalities, and some people are really chill, some people aren't. Some people, when they're playing for the first time, like, they're just so trying to get their mask to not fog or make their belt not super uncomfortable. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to see more of those tactics being played, and I would love to make videos where we're just like, this is staggered column, or we're just like, this is squad communication.
I feel like that's been beaten to death, though.
CQB stuff's been beaten to death.
I feel like it hasn't been done in the high dopamine short form content format in the context specifically of airsoft here at Zulu. And I think showing certain routes or showing certain objectives, like, hey, this is how we take Connex, and then we demonstrate like a flying V, you know, like,
I don't want to give away secrets, though.
I think we should. I think we should.
That's like the KFC special spices.
Part of what becomes not fun.
It's a recipe for Coca-Cola right there.
Part of what becomes not fun.
Coke.
It's Coke. Yeah,
it's Coke.
Yeah.
Part of the fun for me playing here gets killed when I know the field like the back of my hand, and I'm going up against people that don't. Like,
sure,
why not? You know, people follow the Zulu Instagram. People subscribe to the Zulu YouTube. Like, that's the player base that comes here and plays.
Sure.
Why not show them all the little secrets? It's just going to cause us to have to
get better.
But now you're going against people that are like,
but I want to be a big fish in a little pond, gosh darn it.
Hey,
I want my Navy SEAL moment.
I want my Navy SEAL moment.
Then earn it.
No, that's fine. And you're right. You're right. You know, I mean, it's always been the goal to kind of create a better player base, and that's part of it, right? We've done a very good job in terms of creating a better player base, in terms of like people yelling out, call your hits, like etiquette. We've done very good with etiquette.
Yeah.
But in terms of like tactics and shit like that, we should do that.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I think it should take place of making skits again. I'd love to make skits again, but
We've
I
been
think
so focused on being protocol 24 when we could be focused on being tactical 24.
I like my way better.
I know.
I like my way better.
and I also another idea I want to just say again that I've said to you guys before. If we made game brief videos, using the drone to get good aerial footage, showing the map, showing like this is CQB Sham Wow, like think of like a Discovery Channel promo. Like you watch like MythBusters. They're like, this is the experiment. This bowling ball is gonna fall into this vat of acid, and they're getting all the camera shots, and like you're not there, and they're using this outdoor laboratory that's like probably a mile by a mile square foot because it's like a huge MythBusters experiment. But you know where everything is as a viewer, and it keeps you captivated. I feel like if we did that for certain game briefs, people can watch that, and then when they come here and that's the game that's being played, they have this. We're kind of giving them the sense of the field that we have, because they don't have the time on the field that we have, but we can give them a different perspective and like a curated display of it, so that it kind of hits them quicker and kind of catches them up to where we're at, so that the games can just be more competitive and
Sure.
And when people do well and win, they have more fun generally.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to see,
It also changes the meta, right? Yeah, I just used a video game term. Hell yeah, buddy. I know what it is. It changes the meta of the field, right? So then people have to adapt on the fly, create new metas, which creates new gameplay loops, which creates new experiences, which creates new...
And maybe new game modes.
Yeah, right.
Maybe new game... Because like there's certain games we don't run because we're just like, oh my God, these guys are struggling with full field conquest.
Yeah. For sure.
Like we don't want to give them too many objectives that are just like how are we going to make them find props?
Yeah,
Fuel Depot when they don't know where Fuel Depot is.
Yeah.
Task saturate and all that.
Because we used to do conquest with objectives.
Yeah.
And then that's what spawned the missile game.
Yeah. And
then the missile game got a little too complicated sometimes, so we stopped doing it.
The complicated games always ran well when you had highly motivated players that knew the field better. And then trying to run those games with player bases on certain days where there's more inexperienced players.
First time.
All of a sudden, those games don't really run as well.
Yeah.
And it's tough because those games, when they do run really well, they're awesome. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God.
That's a symptom of growth, right? 5-10 years ago when Zulu's average player count was 40 or 50, those guys were like loyal as fuck. They come every weekend. So if you said Dirty Mike Shack, they all knew what it was. I mean, even though we didn't have it back then, but they knew what it was. So you could create. So there wasn't a learning curve, right? They didn't have to learn where Dirty Mike Shack was. They already knew where it was. Therefore, giving them a follow-on task on top of that was a lot more simple to process, as opposed to a new player who's like, "Hey, go to Dirty Mike Shack. Once you get there, find the letter that's going to give you a code to go north and find this at this grid." And they're like, "Wait, I don't even know what team am I on?" You know what I mean? Like that. So that's kind of, it's a product of growth, and it's a product that we're continuously growing. And, it's a lot easier to explain something to 40 people than it is to 130 people, and make sure that everybody's got a good grasp of it, which is where the mentoring comes in, right? The old heads, the old players coming in who should have a vested interest in the sport by bringing up, because players curate the community. Right, we do our best to curate the etiquette, but the players really curate the community, right? And so, if they're inviting and bring people in and mentor them, so that even incrementally that new player gets a little bit better. Every time he comes, gets a little bit better and a little bit better, and then he mentors somebody, and they, his friend group and everything, and all of a sudden, you get to a potential spot where everybody's using like 9-line Cazivacs and everything, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit! Like,
I think one thing like the boys, one thing that we have gotten the habit of that's not helpful to what we're talking about is when there's an event and there's this opportunity where now the boys finally get to like play together.
Yeah,
we all just want to bunch up together.
Yeah,
and then there's all these different squads, but I think it should be promoted more that we do squad leaders like we do it for Benghazi. We do it for these other ops, and all of a sudden a really complicated game like Benghazi, which it's not super complicated, but it can be. Yeah. A game that requires that communication and dissemination of information, having the guys that know the field. We all know that we have radios that work.
Yeah.
We have our own backups for when we know our radios don't work.
Yeah.
Having squad leaders that I can walk up to a ref and be like, "Hey, my radio's down. Got to keep the game going. Like, can I reach out to somebody?" That helps because now putting people into squads that have a squad leader, really the squad leader, the only thing special about him is that he has a radio that works and we can get information. So if there's an objective, we have to get this thing from here. We're not spending 30 minutes trying to get to there through some back trail when the objective's been taken already, because we'll know, because we'll hear it over the radio.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we could totally do.
Well, but so from a player standpoint, right? So maybe you are a competent group of guys, right? Maybe you have 15 dudes. Are you really going to want some other dude leading you? No, because there's with every group of people, there's one person that usually stands out, and everybody recognizes and respects, right? And so they're going to be the leaders. So I think it's important to have players be leaders.
I agree with that. I think part of that is that bow things are very cheap. We should just have a couple on standby, and just issue it out and say, hey, just return it at the end of the event or something.
Yeah.
Now, like bow thing's not super expensive. Just it's the comms. A lot of the times it's the tech that fails, and that causes a whole bunch of just hoopla, or people lose it. The funniest thing, the biggest thing I see that makes people give up on radios is they get so dead set on this idea of having the radio in their pouch and then putting the clear earpiece in.
Yeah.
And then they realize how uncomfortable it is. And then all of a sudden, because
they just take it out.
Because they can't have the earpiece, they don't even want to bother with it anymore because they just think having a radio.
Dude, the Code Red.
Be loud.
The Code Red boom mic.
Yeah.
Is perfect.
The Baofeng ones suck. Code Red ones.
Yeah.
It has never given me away. You guys, okay, so as staff, you guys have this sixth sense to know exactly when I'm sneaking up on somebody, and then you guys are just like, hey, so what do you want to do for lunch? And I keep my radio at like a medium volume just in case there's a real world or anything. Like I need to be able to hear it. And it's like I'm sneaking up to a position where I know that there's quote unquote bad guys or whatever, and you guys, it's like without fail, you're like, hey, did you guys see the baseball game the other day? And you're like, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. But it's never given my position away at all. So you can keep it at a reasonable volume. If you're worried about, like if you have the earpiece because you're like, oh, I don't want the enemy to hear me, it's kind of a
moot point.
Yeah, you're going to shoot far before.
If you're breaking into their base and you're crawling through their air vent and you're right above them looking through the vent and your radio goes off, that's when you probably need that earpiece.
Sure.
But
that's just Sam Fisher.
That's just not going to happen.
There's no Sam Fisher.
Maybe at night when we play night games, I definitely turn it down a little bit more.
Yeah.
But even still, I've never had somebody be like, oh, I just heard a radio, like never, not once.
You're just like, what was that in the woods?
Not even. It's because it's loud to me because it's right here, but to everybody else,
I believe that.
It's really nothing.
Can I point out that the night games have gotten a lot more fun since the tracer required rule, and now it's like the night vision users and non-night vision users can like actually play together, and it's fun. I think, I just want to point that out.
So we have August
night games have
coming
improved
up.
so much.
But September night vision rentals are back.
I'm thinking about making next week no MVGs.
Real glad I put the Facebook post out that's like night vision's allowed.
Did you really already?
Yeah.
Well, that fucks that.
Right. I mean, we could.
No, never mind.
Like the Facebook event page is made that says NVGs.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll keep it.
I'm looking forward to the September night game because it's going to get dark soon.
I was going to say, I pre-gamed it and made all of the fucking events for the rest of the year on Facebook.
Okay.
It's only on Facebook. So if you want to change it, like 12 people saw it.
I'll think about it.
Okay.
Just because I know Amped is coming to Rent in September.
Yeah.
So this is like the last chance if we want to do a no MVG.
Yeah. So let me double check real quick because I can tell you what the metrics are on that post. It's not even like it's the event page. Like I made one for every night game for the rest of the year, all the flea markets for the rest of the year, and then for Crossroads.
Well, what it would mean is that for the next 4 days, every single day, we got to be like,
no nods.
MVG.
Yeah. No nods allowed, period.
But is multicam allowed at the night games?
Let's see.
No. They're just talking about gear. You just can't wear multicam gear.
Oh, yeah.
You can't wear multicam socks.
Wait, so am I allowed to use a pistol at the night game?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it your primary weapon, though? Is it your primary weapon?
I'm going to be the guy that says yes.
Then it has,
Then
to,
it
have
has to have a
a
tracer.
Yeah, then it has to have a tracer.
But what if it's holstered when I'm not using it?
Then it doesn't have to.
Do you have another gun on you?
No.
Then it has to have a tracer unit.
My primary is a knife.
Then it has
And
to
you're
have
wrong.
a tracer. Then it has to have a tracer unit.
Okay, so for the night game, so the Facebook post didn't do well because it's Facebook. There's 5 people on there. There's only been 3 people that responded to it. So if you want to, just let me know tomorrow, and then I will
maybe
it up in the morning.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I totally made the event page.
That's fine. But yeah, I think tracer units have done nothing but positive.
I think it's been great
for the night games. And yeah, I've seen some comments that are just like, there's no way a tracer BB is going to ever be as good as night vision. And they're partly right. They're coming from a stupid place, but they're partly right. You know what I mean?
But I think they're not understanding the reason why we did it.
The tracers aren't for the guys without night vision. It's so that the guys with night vision give themselves away.
Correct.
And hopefully more people with night vision are also running boss units.
I feel like I made a video about this early in the season where I said it's a balancing act. And because now it makes you not safe at night. So now as soon as you shoot, you've given your position away.
Yeah.
Which means that if the dudes that don't have nods are communicating and working together and having some form of teamwork and cohesion, then they have a fighting chance because that dude with nods might drop 1 or 2. But if there's 6 of you,
the last night game
Airsoft.
I managed to get on during the last game. we
God.
were around the mosque area.
Oh yeah.
And I remember like I was there. There was kind of nothing happening. There was a lot of team killing happening. And then Dave was like, "Hey, Anthony, we should probably get off the field." I'm just like, "You mean like switch teams, right? Like the teams aren't balanced?" He's like, "No, we're the only ones with night vision right now. We should get off." I was
But
like,
that wasn't true.
We were the only people with actual night vision, and we were not helping the game.
Yeah,
That's true.
I was like, okay.
We were not making. It wasn't fun for me, and I guarantee it wasn't fun for them.
It's not fun when you have nods and nobody else has nods.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well, actually, okay, so hold on. I'm going to defend the other team for a second because, like, Gabe and his friends, like part of Smiggy's crew, they were there and they had 14s. But they were also...
They weren't in that game.
No, they were.
They were.
Because I total airsoft story moment, came around through the woods behind the mosque compound, got to that side of the field's L-shaped building, rounded the corner, and there was Gabe and one of his other friends who I can't remember his name, and I shot them, had the muzzle flash tracer, had the boss system, and they did their Milson West dramatic death, and I was like, I could be done right now.
Yeah.
Had the best. I just had like peak airsoft moment. I'm good.
Yeah.
And then I just hear Dave. He's just like, Johnny!
Yeah, I was like,
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
we had those 2 guys in a crossfire.
Yeah.
And I was like, that wasn't fun for them. It wasn't even really fun for me, to be honest. I was going to let them get in. And then you opened up. And I was like, all right, well.
Yeah, because the dude that was on the left, like, I was trying to give my position away. So, like I've said in previous videos, the camo that works in the day works at night.
Sure.
I was just standing in the opening of the tree line.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't trying to hide. I was just standing. And one of them flashed his light at me and was like, no, that's nothing. And then he stopped. He flashed his light back and he's like, wait, I think that's someone. He raised his gun. I was like, now I can shoot you.
Yeah. But yeah, we weren't contributing positively to that game. So luckily that was the only game we played, and it's fine. But I think the addition of tracer units is a step in the right direction.
It is.
In terms of people being more comfortable at night. I think teamwork is a huge factor. Like something as simple, specifically at night games, just coming up with a challenge and pass. Because now people don't feel helpless when they look at a shadow that's moving. They're not just like, "What the fuck is that? Who is that? What team are they on?"
They're like, Harold?
Yeah,
Harold, is that you?
Gary.
Gary.
Oh, that's right. You don't get that joke because
No,
you
I
haven't
don't.
seen Team America World Police.
No.
Burn him in the comments, please.
I have not seen this movie. I roasted earlier.
So just something. It gives them something that they can do to identify what's in front of them, because obviously you can't use your eyes and your ears aren't going to help you too much.
Dave, what is a challenge and pass for anybody that does not know?
Challenge and pass is either a word, a series of words, a number, a series of numbers that identifies you as friend or foe when you cannot do it visually. So for instance, we'll use a number in this case, right? So the number is 7. And the way that you use that number is, I'll say 3. And your response needs to add up to 7. So in this case, 4, right? So 3 and 4 are 7. I know that he is friendly. You can also use it with words. So we'll say, okay, so prime example, Saving Private Ryan. If I say thunder in Saving Private Ryan, because you've seen that movie, right?
I don't remember the challenge and pass.
Are you fucking serious?
I don't remember the...
Huh? Thunder and Flash is also Saving Private Ryan. Yeah. It was also World War II.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so it's thunder and flash, right? So if I say thunder, you say
Flash.
okay, and now I know that you're on my side, right? In the Pacific, it was different because I can't remember what it was. I think it was a woman's name. I can't remember, but like they figured out the Japanese couldn't say a certain word or whatever, and that's what they would use. But it's basically an audible indicator of what team you're on, and it's a challenge. I'm challenging you. Hey, Halt, who goes there? That type of shit.
Yeah.
And so you giving that response, even if you get it wrong, I'm still in the right for shooting you. So even you can't bitch and be like, I'm on your fucking team. You're like, no, man.
Yep. And in real life, you die. But in Airsoft, you respawn, and now you know the challenge and pass.
Sure, there's no reason even comparing it to real life. But
The problem with challenge and passes, and we see it a lot, because
it could be compromised.
We will try and use it immediately.
Sure.
Like at night games, we will go into the game, and before it starts, we'll be like, hey guys, and we'll grab everyone in our spawn. We're like, we're going to make a challenge and pass. You and I understand the concept of using that. Only use it if you really have to.
Yeah.
Then you see players that this is their first time using a challenge and pass, and they are so excited about that.
They're running around going, thunder!
Yes.
Thunder!
And somebody immediately says it, and now the enemy team knows.
Yeah.
You know, like
In the same way, you don't pick, if your friends are on the other team, don't pick something that's an inside joke that everyone's going to know, like Sunset.
yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. No, but the best part is you do it purposely, right?
Yeah.
So your challenge is thunder, and then everybody who's seen Band of Brothers or Saving Private Ryan says flash, but that's not the response. The response is fucking banana. You know what I mean? But you've tricked the enemy team into thinking that they know.
Yeah.
And so you're like, get
Playing
fucked.
4D chess now.
Yeah, get fucked.
But it happens all the time. That's
Surprise! Which is another reference you don't get because you didn't see Team America.
Yeah. That's why I like the numbers and I like the light combos,
The numbers are hard to crack.
because light combos are another side of that, because we use that at Milson West. If
No,
you
3,
don't-
2, 1.
No, not so much that, but the same thing that you use the number combo. So 3, 4 makes 7.
Yeah,
If I flash my light at you 3 times, you have to flash yours back 4 times.
sure.
And that's why, like, I
Joke's
prefer-
on you. I don't carry a white light.
That's true. I like light combos and numbers because that's a lot harder to guess. Because even then, if I yell at you 3,
Yeah.
and you're like, why the fuck is he yelling 3? Cool, you're not on my team. Smokey.
Yeah. There's also another thing called a running password. It's
Yes.
like if you are coming back into friendly lines, but like you're being chased, like you just don't have time. Like you're making a bunch of noise.
Yeah, it's like yelling blue, blue, blue.
yeah, you're just like,
It's a running pass.
yeah, you know.
Which all of those can be compromised in one form or another. It's
Sure.
usually due to negligence because you're just yelling it rapidly and
Yeah.
like then other players around the field. Like we've done that during night games where like we hear the other team's challenge pass. We're like, Roger that. We know the
Yeah,
challenge
like
pass now.
okay.
But now it's like, am I the shitbag that I hear them say it and I give them the right password, so then I walk up and shoot them? Like that's kind of a dick move, but it's not against the rules.
I mean, not really, right? Like, because obviously we play multiple games during a night game, so
Yeah,
like literally in between every game or mid game,
you could change it.
you could change it, right? Again, if you're working together and you're mentoring and all this stuff,
Yeah.
you can pull everybody together and be like, hey, spread the word. This is the new response. Keep the same challenge, right? Because now the enemy doesn't know that you changed your pass.
Yeah.
And so they're going to give you the old response, and you're just going to have to hope that that's not just a teammate who didn't get the memo.
Because we've capitalized on this. Eric Vandervars and I jumped into another team's stack during a night game. Like it happened. It wasn't a Zulu run night game. It was a different event producer, but we heard their challenge and pass. We capitalized on it, jumped in on their stack, then proceeded to help them clear Newtown. And once they cleared it, we shot them all in the back.
Oh, God, they were so happy about that, I bet.
Oh, no, they were not.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the joke.
I found I'm more worried about getting shot by teammates during night games than not, because like sometimes you veer off on your own or you do a flank and you understand where your friendlies are coming from and you understand where the enemies are
But
coming
they
from.
didn't visibly see you go
Right.
over there.
So like you know where your friendlies are, but you know they're going to see you and think you're an enemy. So it's like you can't walk back to them. So now you're in this position where you're in between two groups of people that are just going to shoot at you.
Yeah.
You know, and you know you're not going to shoot at your teammates. At least you're less worried about the enemies because you know I'm going to shoot at that guy. So yeah, night games get pretty hairy, and even with night vision, like there's a lot of confusion involved.
Oh.
And also, I have a
Your phone died.
My phone died?
Yeah, your phone died. And Rich is now calling me back finally. It's been however long.
Nice.
Rich is
Good job, Rich. You were on the live stream. You know that we're in the middle of something.
Is my phone still?
Your phone's still cooking.
Cool.
There's still 9 people
Are
watching.
there any comments on it?
The last comment on it was from
It was tactical parts, I think. Hold on. Yeah, tactical parts.
So he basically said there is a distinct lack of leadership in airsoft right now.
For sure.
Yes.
Which actually, we were just talking about this.
We were talking about this at like 4:00.
What do you think about, how do I not say it so cringily, like a leadership course?
I mean, that's the right term.
Yeah, I know. It's just sometimes when you mix real world with airsoft, it gets
but it's not.
as cringy.
It wouldn't be a course to teach you how to run tactics. It
No.
would be a course that would teach you how to work with other human beings.
Yes.
Yeah.
How to communicate, clear, concise communications on the radio, being open to working with other units, to
Simply how to have a conversation with another human being.
oh yeah,
Airsoft.
we'll start with men and then we'll work our way up to girls. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think the way to
Girls
not-
are scary, man.
I think the reason why it has gotten associated with Cringe to have a leadership course or a airsoft tactics group is because of certain groups that have done it, and this also involved joining their cult and going to the gym with them and working out with your plate carrier on, and
That sounds like a lot of protocols.
it sounds like a lot of things that certain groups have done, and they just kind of made the airsoft training too serious. And I understand wanting to have fun at certain events, but
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun to be proficient.
it is fun to be proficient.
And in order to gain proficiency, you got to work at it, right?
I think the cringe just came from the toxicity of certain groups that have done it.
Sure.
I think the intention should just be made very clear. Like, hey, this is not to prepare you for a boogaloo.
This is
Like,
yeah.
if shit hits the fan, I am not going to meet up with you where we train airsoft so that we can do this for real. Like, this is just like, hey, for Zulu Run events, we just want the games to run smooth. We want it to be fun. We don't want people to feel like they came out and spent money just to get like shit on all day or to just shit on other people all day and not really have fun. It's to make the airsoft more immersive.
Not only that, but it's you'd have to go into that, possibly, especially with like veteran airsoft players, right? Not veterans, but people who have played airsoft for a long time. Is that you'd have to go into it realizing that a lot of the things being taught you probably already know.
Right.
You just don't put them into action.
Yeah.
And maybe there's one thing, 1%, that is something new that you learn and makes you better, right? That's the same thing with pistol courses, rifle courses, everything. Everybody basically teaches the same shit, but maybe they do one thing a little bit fucking different, right? And that's the thing you learn. But it's really the prac app, the putting it into action or having a medium to put it in action. It's sometimes hard to do out here on just a regular open play. It's also way harder to do it like an event, right? So it might be something worth looking into, man. Maybe like running some stuff, something basic. I mean, just basic stuff. Just basic stuff.
I love the idea of just taking certain areas in the field where when we play, we find them to be like, I guess, choke points for us moving around the whole field. A big one is when Connex is full of people and we need to get to Connex, but there's this big opening. How do we get there? Or if we're trying to get into Newtown and we get stuck at the trucks, how can we use the field?
There's only one solution for both those situations.
Well, in different parts of the field, there might be different solutions. Like, all right, what about clearing embassy? You know, some people don't like once you get to that back part of the field, a lot of people don't realize how much of that is like actually in play that they can use.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they're just discouraged because of like swampy water or there's just a lot of brush. But like, you know, it's still usable. And it's actually really fun when you get to be the little detachment group that uses it to help everybody get into an objective. It's fun.
Sure. I mean, even like something simple like full field conquest. Okay, the Connex box, the Connex fort or whatever doesn't even have a capture point.
Yeah.
But people always go there because it's 2 stories and it's actually a very strong location on the field, right? It kind of plugs a hole if you're trying to do any maneuvering. Mm-hmm. And just the satisfaction of taking 12 guys, doing something that seems absolutely crazy. Like, what's the plan? We're going to get online. Everybody's going to shoot at a window, pick a window, multiple windows, whatever the fuck. And then having it work is like elating.
Oh, it's so fun when that actually.
Oh, you're just like, holy shit.
And also, my experience with flying Vs, especially with the Connex, every time I'm the guy that's like, hey, everybody, let's do a flying V, I quickly tell them, like, all right, pick a window, shoot, we're going to walk towards it. Every time I'm the guy that gets everybody to do it, I'm the first one that dies, and everybody gets in there.
Yeah.
So
it's a win.
It's a win. And I get medicked, usually, if there's a medic rule in the game, and it's like, cool, we did it. And now that we have EG67s back,
yeah, right,
and we have smoke grenades back, it's like, oh my God, that dude, EGs and tag-ins getting banned. Not just, tag-ins are like
They weren't banned. What are you talking
right. I don't mean Zulu banning that.
about? There was some
Okay.
ATF shit. Yeah.
EGs getting banned and Zulu not having those disposable grenades for that time period. It sucked. It's like grenades are so cool, and
Well, it's an equalizer, right?
Yeah.
It's an option. I take it back. It's not an equalizer, but it's an option. So once you get, for instance, your back's up against the Connex box, they can't shoot straight down, but now you can kind of clear out that second floor. It's not just all about running up those stairs and taking a couple of BBs to the neck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
it's like, oh man, it's so great. It's so great to have grenades back. Like,
Yeah, I'm glad. Enola Gay reached out a while ago, and they were like, "Hey, we finally figured shit out with the ATF or whatever the fuck," and they did a pre-order thing, and I immediately bought some. It seems like they're pretty good now. It seems like they're pretty available.
Did they change them?
I don't believe so.
They seem more quiet.
I mean, maybe they had to do that. I don't know.
Like I have 2 cases of old EGs, and I swear they are louder than the ones we have now.
I have an old EG in my shop.
We can test it.
But the other thing is, it's a funny comment on the topic of EGs. I had players try to justify to me 2 weeks ago why grenades shouldn't be allowed because they're pay to win.
Yes, so is life.
That's what I said.
I don't know what to tell you.
I figured you'd enjoy that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I had a
I
group
don't-
of players try to tell me that it's not fair because the other team has more frags than them, and I was like, yes, they do. They bought them. And they're like,
Yeah, man.
they're like, that's not fair. It's pay to win. I'm like, so is life.
Yes.
Every argument for a gun is pay to win.
Airsoft
You know
is
what I mean?
pay to
Like-
win.
like-
no airsoft game or event is ever.
Can we not be homeless anymore? I'm getting bit the fuck.
Yeah, mosquitoes suck.
Jesus
No
Christ.
airsoft game is ever perfectly balanced.
No, because there's skill, and skill is like
there's skill, equipment, terrain, fatigue and attrition.
Can we not be homeless anymore? I'm sorry.
hydration. I mean, like all these things are factors. Right?
Dehydration,
Personal physical fitness, mental fortitude,
communication.
Yeah, dude. There's all these things.
You know?
There's so many variables that I am confident, dude. Yeah, but I'm confident I can take a rental off the wall and do fine.
Yeah. Can we put a boss unit on it though?
Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah,
I can't play
same.
without the fucking thing anymore.
We can wire that up.
The boss unit is on my worst gun.
I tell customers that come to my window.
Out of your multiple systemas, you picked the worst one.
Well, because it was like the easiest one to put.
Yeah.
Out of all the customers that come to my window, so many times I tell them like you are the weapon. Sometimes
Okay, Grant.
sometimes there's tech work's expensive.
She windy.
Yeah, tech work is expensive, and sometimes a kid will come to the window and they know what they want their gun to do. They don't quite realize how expensive it is to do it, and it's outside of their budget. And I always reassure them. I'm just like, look, your gun works right now. Like you are the weapon. You really are. I watch kids with rentals completely freaking destroy me and my team. Like, your enthusiasm is important. Now, with that said, like guns with more range, obviously you'll be able to hit things from further away, which is advantageous, but it shouldn't make or break your experience. It really shouldn't. If your gun goes down, there's other ways to still be involved and have fun. I mean, you might be down for that game. Hopefully you have a backup. Hopefully it's a quick fix. Hopefully it's just a dead battery. But like, yeah, you are the weapon. It's an important thing to remember.
What's worse, the wind or the mosquitoes? Because the wind got rid of the mosquitoes.
Yeah, but then it sounded like shit.
Look, rebels in Myanmar are using 3D printed guns to fight an actual military, okay? It is not balanced for them, but somehow there's engagements where they've won and they've recaptured enemy
It's
weapons.
cringe to compare airsoft to real life.
No, I know, but like,
Sounds
Anthony's
like
cringe.
skill issues.
Yeah.
I'm not
cringe.
comparing airsofters to real soldiers.
Cringe.
I'm just comparing the parallel in the fairness of life.
Sure.
Like, you're not going to lose simply because your gun doesn't
Oh, man,
shoot
this
quite
is
as
back
far.
again.
What's that?
What happened?
The $6 empanadas as a crime guy is back.
Yes, I love, dude. I tell Barbara that constantly.
Yeah,
Yes.
he literally said, "Nah, $6 empanada. That's crazy."
Fight. Let's fight for the empanada. Like the
Yo, those are homemade. I'll have you know.
They're homemade and they're made with love.
Yeah.
yeah, but when you like to eat 10 of them,
Yeah.
$6. It's pricey.
Well, it's convenient.
Dave, just meal prep. Bring your food from home.
Yeah, that's too much work.
Okay. Well, I tried.
Yeah.
I tried.
We got to issue MRE.
Yeah, it's part of the team building.
Okay, Vatnik, calm
When
down.
you guys play here, you need to eat MREs. Get the real experience. Shit your brains out.
No, the opposite. No, the
And you
opposite.
can
It depends on the one you eat.
Yeah.
I had a few weeks ago. I had the fucking pulled. It was like the barbecue chicken.
Oh, the shredded beef barbecue.
And shredded beef barbecue chicken with black beans. It came out the same way it went in. It was awful.
Fantastic.
It burned.
That's one of my favorite MREs. There's like 3 I'll touch: shredded beef barbecue, chicken pesto pasta, and the cheese tortellini.
I don't even remember MRE. It's been so
Oh, dude,
long.
they've changed.
There were like these humanitarian ones. They were yellow.
Were they better?
Dude, they had like Pop-Tarts and shit in them.
Pop-Tart, or not Pop-Tarts. MREs now have Pop-Tarts in them.
They're starting to
Okay,
put mountain houses.
Well,
in
back
MREs.
then, it was like there's also cold weather that was. I mean, you were talking
Probably still are.
2005, whatever. They had like these cold weather MREs, which were like 4,000 calories. There was like
Yo, that
all
sounds-
sorts of crazy shit in there, dude.
I'm really hungry, so that sounds real good right now.
Yeah, dude. The humanitarian ones were really good. Dude.
MREs. I'm so hungry. I want to eat one of those.
I do not want to eat an MRE.
I just ate a peach.
I learned a cool trick recently on how to get the heat thing for the MRE to heat up really quickly. Like you put the water in it, and then
Yeah, it's
you
called Get a Mountain House in a jet plane.
like
Yeah.
you put the water in it and you like roll up the bag. So you roll up the heat element in the bag, and it just makes the water absorb up the thing a lot quicker. And you hold it, and then it'll start to boil over the fold. And then like that thing's hot. Like you open the bag and it hits your face, and you're just like,
Oh, those are the chemicals. Yeah, you're heating your.
Why are you?
You
why are you
turn-
putting your face over the bag?
well, no, it just happened. You turn into Two-Face from Batman.
I'm trying to. Yeah.
Anything comes back with chemical burns from an MRE.
No, my chemical burns are in my lungs from all the smelling salts.
Jeez.
Oh man.
How do we get on MREs?
Because we were. Yeah, I don't even know, man.
I think we were talking about empanadas. $6 empanadas are a
That's right.
crime.
That's right.
And yeah,
That's a shirt. The snack bar should lean into that
They should.
and make shirts about that.
if they sell enough shirts, the price of empanadas come down.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's to $5.
Hey, there's a step in the right direction.
Hell
That's
yeah.
true.
How's the live stream doing?
So Dave's phone died, so now it's only giving the notifications to your
Yeah.
followers. So there's about 6-7 people in there. Like people started popping up asking about Gearbox questions, and I'm like, sorry, man, we're skipping that.
Well, what's the gearbox question?
Anthony, do I have to refer to the metrics?
The Zulu podcast nuggets to see what happens on my live.
The
podcast.
gearbox
Briefly.
pin is loose and falls out. How can I remedy this?
Which gearbox?
Super glue.
He said the center pin.
The center pin.
Super glue.
Usually that happens because the hole in the receiver is worn out or the pin is worn out. That pin should have like a textured tip on it, and that helps it bite onto the receiver. Sometimes the receiver's just worn out, and that's a more expensive fix. But the quick fix, I take Gorilla Tape. I take 2 little squares of it, and I just put it on either side of the pin.
So
And that'll keep it in. And it looks kind of milsim to have tape on your gun. They're like, why do you have that? You're just like, this is what we do.
we got. Can I
care.
put more than
I don't
one
care, man.
Bosch unit on a gun, like a minigun?
Boss, you got
Where?
a minigun.
Where would you put it on a minigun?
One
I
on
was
each
asking if you
barrel.
could put more than one, so like one on each piece of the rail, so you could have 4 on there.
Sure, why not?
And
Head over to the website, buy 6 of them.
we got bring food from home. I'm driving 6 hours to get to you. Back in my day, okay, boomer.
Back in my day, we walked
Yeah,
into
fair
enough. I know.
He got you there.
I know, I'm old.
We played in the snow.
I'm
Get
older.
attacked by bears. And
We came
fight
home
them.
after the sun went down. We rubbed dirt in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so today, we had a great day today, right?
Oh, are we going to talk about it?
Well, I was talking with Edgar, and he was like, I don't know what it is today. He's like, I've had more people come up and be like, hey, can you you have a Band-Aid? Do you have hand sanitizer? I got a little bruise under my nail. Is that okay? I was like, Edgar, you should have been like, that's cancer. I've seen cancer.
I'm sorry. Can we bring back when Zulu had My Little Pony Band-Aids?
We have them. They're
Where
just,
are
they're,
they?
they're, I don't know.
I looked
Talk
for
to-
him today and couldn't find him.
Talk to Barber. Talk to Barber.
Oh, he's got to be serious about everything.
Barber.
He set up our med kit, which is done very well. But
He is an EMT now.
Yeah, he got rid of the thing. But I was just like, damn, he's like literally all day today. And I reminded him that all the rentals were out, like 50 rentals, you know. He was like, yeah, man, it's like people are like, oh, I scratched my nail. Can I have a medical? Somebody asked for a medical professional because they got stung by a bee or something.
Were they allergic?
No, they walked off the field. Like I was like, Edgar, did you ask them if their throat was closing up? Like,
I remember the podcast episode with Bob where he was talking about how important it is to touch grass, and he was talking about all the holistic medicine reasons why airsoft is so good for you. Like
sure.
I believe everything.
Like the fumes coming from the trees, all the it's good for
the
you.
molds.
Do you smell it right now? It smells awesome out here.
It vitalizes your body. Get stung by some bees. Get bit by a rattlesnake. It's fine.
Don't shoot the
Fine.
rattlesnake because that's
Yeah,
how
just
I
don't
throw
shoot
you
it.
out.
Don't shoot the
Don't
rattlesnake.
shoot the rattlesnake.
Yep.
Don't shoot the garden snake because then I throw you out. I don't throw you off the field. I throw you out.
Yeah. Also, there are no rattlesnakes.
And don't step on snake. Yeah,
Don't.
there's no rattlesnakes here. The most dangerous thing here at the field
It's gophers.
is you not drinking water.
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
That's like the most.
I did hear, I did not see it, a rattlesnake recently while I was out on a hike.
Where?
Minnewaska.
Okay, that checks.
Yeah, we were going up the side of this ridge, and I'm just like, I hear the hissing. I was like, oh.
If you heard the hissing, it wasn't a rattlesnake.
No, like I don't know how to describe
A rattle?
it. The rattle, yeah. And my girlfriend's just like, what is that? I was like, that's a rattlesnake. And she immediately gets scared. I was like,
Now, there's also a species up here of snake that imitates a rattlesnake. This is fucking nature, right? They like find a dead leaf and they just wag their tail on the fucking dead leaf to make it sound like a fucking rattle.
this sounded like every stereotypical, like you're watching a movie and it's like, that's a rattlesnake. Like that's
Probably it.
Yeah, that's
probably
what it sounded like. It was just like,
we do have diamondbacks and timber rat. There's only 3 native poisonous species of snake in New York, and it's a diamondback, timber. What's it called? Timber rattler, timber, whatever.
Yeah.
How big?
And then
How big are they normally when you see them?
I have never seen one.
Yeah, I didn't even see this one. It was just like trail about the width of this table, and it was like it sounded like it was where the camera was. And I'm just like, just keep walking. I was like, we just get over the ridge. It's over here. It's fine.
I get bit. Rattlesnakes don't really kill him.
Don't step on snake.
Yeah.
No step on
Airsoft.
Wow.
Call me a boomer.
Let's see if anybody had a rebuttal to that.
That's so tough.
I think we hit some good topics.
My dad was an actual boomer. He's also 70 years old.
You're not a boomer.
I'm not. I'm a cusp millennial.
You're a cusp millennial.
Yeah. Means I remember I played outside till the streetlights came on, but then the internet happened and we all were just like, there's naked ladies on here.
The street lights went from candles to LEDs.
We rode our bikes in the street, like
Trade drinking coffee for having a bee sting you. That's the most recent comment.
Trade drinking coffees.
Trade drinking coffee for just getting stung by a bee. It'll wake you up.
Yeah.
It'll wake you up. It'll hurt. I got stung the other day, actually.
Yeah?
It got lodged underneath my plate carrier and like stung.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that.
And I thought I got hit, but then I felt it crawl around, and I was like, "Yeah." You ever had like it's just like an insect crawling on you, like
Yes.
And when somebody has a tick near you, all of a sudden you start feeling them all over you. But but those are like phantom ones. But then that one time you get a real one, you're like, ah, like that's how it was. Yeah. It was like underneath, and I had to grab it and like throw it out.
We had this summer. We've had this like invasive species of like
Beetles,
cicada killer, like killer hornets.
Oh, those things.
These like giant bees. They're like this freaking big, and
what's the body count up to? 5 or 6?
Like for some reason they like the shop. They'll fly around inside, and my caveman brain is like, I'm gonna kill the biggest bee ever. So far, the biggest.
That's like your prison. That's the biggest. Like when you go to prison.
Yeah, the biggest bee I've ever killed was like this big, dude.
Find the biggest bee and punch it in the face.
Yeah,
they'll respect you.
I'm about to get those bees taxidermied, put up on the wall.
Speaking of
they're getting bigger
stuff, are we going to continue with the AstroTurf?
Yeah, I mean, well, you can't see it now, but
we got all that AstroTurf.
The weed killer chemical spray that you're using, how well does that work, and how long does it last?
No, it only kills the plants. It's like super, like you can drink it probably. It only kills the plants that it touches. It does not do anything to the soil. It doesn't get in the water table, so it doesn't prevent growth next year. You know what I mean?
Which is why we would be putting the AstroTurf over.
Yeah, there is another chemical I could use, but I would have to use it on a Monday.
Yeah.
So that it would be safe for the weekend. I mean, it's doable. It would probably be safe by Wednesday, but it's all, and that shit like kills it for a year. It like gets in the soil and like.
So what's the plan with the AstroTurf? Like, where do you want to put it?
I'm going to sell it.
Yeah.
No. I mean, CQB is the next logical. I've already sprayed a couple of the buildings and everything's dying pretty nice. And we got to weed whack it to get it all down. And then put the
and looked. How's Newtown?
We have to stake it down.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the other thing too, is we just laid it down in Newtown because it's pretty heavy stuff, but just players walking on it and whatever, it kind of moves it around.
So for some context, some guys randomly one day are like, "Hey, we have all of these rolls of AstroTurf.
Yeah.
Do you want them?
Do you want them for free?" Dave's just like, "Hell
Sure.
yeah!"
Sure, why not?
Trade offer: you take all this AstroTurf for free, and I don't have to worry about
Weed
disposing
whack.
it.
Well, the trade-off is I get free AstroTurf. They get it off their hands, and we don't get forests growing in Newtown. Right?
Yeah. So are you putting it in the buildings or just around the outside of the building?
In the building.
In the buildings.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so all the
Like, if you
interiors.
go down to new CQB right now, all of the buildings are lined with AstroTurf.
Yeah.
Even the Outlier building.
Yeah,
Really?
the outlet
Yeah.
too.
Wow.
But because the stuff underneath hasn't died completely, right?
It's a little crunchy.
It's like crunchy. So like the AstroTurf is raised ever so slightly. So every time you move, so your foot goes down here, but it pulls this.
Yeah.
And then over time, over 130 people running over, it moves. So we have to stake it down. I think I'm going to get some like cheap tent stakes, and
Okay.
we have to stake it down.
I think when winter happens and it kind of freezes,
Sure.
That'll probably help.
But right now, that's not what's happening.
Because we spent, 2 days doing it?
Yeah, and
2.5?
I did 3. I did one day by myself, but
Yeah, that's right. You were doing it on that Friday.
shit, I still owe you money for that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Jesus.
Yeah, AstroTurf is rough.
It's not fun. Yeah, it's not a fun day.
No.
I'll be honest with you.
We were out here for probably 4 or 5 hours that second day, and I was just like, I'm going home, going to bed.
Yeah, it was
Like,
tough.
that sucked.
Yeah. Those things are heavy.
I'm looking forward to Crossroads. I would like to actually show up that day to play and play the whole day.
Well, get your multi-cam.
I know
And
I
get
will.
your ticket.
I know I will have a bunch of people coming to the window.
Get your ticket.
Yeah, I'll get my ticket.
Get your ticket.
No, just tell them prior, like, hey, man, I'm not going to be doing any tech work during that day.
Yeah,
It's hard, man. People
Missed
show up and it's
opportunity.
like, I want to help them.
because for us, we go to an event and we make sure the week, 2 weeks prior, our shit works.
I don't bring multiple guns to games.
Correct. There's been multiple events where players have shown up and they're just like, shit, my gun's broken. How did you not know that prior? Because they didn't check.
Because of leadership and mentoring.
No, this is just, I don't even know the proper term for it. It's not mental fortitude, but it's
No,
keeping up on your shit.
Was it prior planning prevents piss poor
Oh,
performance?
the 7 S's?
Proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
Sure.
Same.
6 S's.
6 S's. But either way,
S's?
6 P's.
Thank you.
The 6 P's.
yeah, but it's we would check our guns weeks in advance. Make
Sure.
They work. Some people, they get to the field Saturday morning, they're like, fuck, my gun's not working. And then Anthony's...
Well, sure, they got jobs and lives and all,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But when when it's not just a regular open play day, right?
Yeah, but it still happens.
Sure, it shouldn't. But I'm just saying that there's more of an excuse for it to happen during open play than there is for an op, right? And regardless of how you feel about the event, you paid extra money to play this event for the sole purpose of there being more organizational things, right? There's a helicopter coming. We got the mortar. There's all sorts of things. Why wouldn't you make sure that your gun works?
Oh, I have questions with the mortar. Because I reading the Crossroads page, it says the mortar team will be separate.
Oh yeah, I fucked up.
You copy pasted that from last year.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that this year. So
Okay.
it's just whoever's there. There's gonna be a ref stationed at the mortar at all times. So.
Ear Pro required.
For the mortar?
Yeah. Probably should.
Required though?
For the mortar team?
Well, the mortar team could be anybody.
That's what I'm saying. But the person operating the mortar should probably.
Can I tell you how the loud noises of the mortar ruined my entire life?
Sure.
So
See this
when I went to Zulu 24, I was told about iPro and all of this stuff. Nobody told me the dangers of hearing loud noises. I heard this real tactical simulation, real military training mortar. And when I heard it, it ruined everything. I lost my job. Couldn't hold a relationship.
You somehow got your virginity back.
Couldn't
I
get back.
got
Couldn't
my
get friends.
virginity
Yeah.
back. And oh man, my dick don't work. Everything went to hell ever since I heard that loud noise. And all my friends are just thriving, and I'm just sitting here in the sidelines watching them. Yeah, I really don't want to throw shade at that guy.
So don't.
I don't. But it is a funny story. Because
The only thing to throw shade about is how he approached different businesses with the same fucking story.
Yeah.
Trying to create some sort of like, oh, woe is me.
Yeah.
Right. We just happened to be the latest business that he tried to throw that at. And
Yeah.
thankfully, because the internet is undefeated, everybody was just like, no, bitch, you posted that shit like fucking 8 months ago talking about this other place. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
If you know, you know, it's on Reddit, whatever.
You know.
It's not, that person is just, it's a cry for help.
Yeah.
Look at me, this type of shit.
It was borderline cry for help, borderline manifesto in the works.
Yeah. Yeah. If anybody knows that guy, I may want to keep an eye on him.
Yeah. Ask him if he's okay. There's hotline.
Ask him if he went to Pennsylvania anytime recently. Too soon?
Nah.
Not too soon.
But yeah, I don't even remember what we're talking about.
Well, we are at the 2-hour mark.
2 hours? Oh, yeah, we got to wrap this up.
I think we hit a lot of good topics.
Last question from a viewer. SMGs for Crossroads?
Yeah, thumbs up, yeah.
Okay.
So at Crossroads, you'll see me running a TM NGRS MP5 ST, going full auto with recoil, having the time of my life. Look, if there might be time for you guys to just acquire a TM NGRS MP5 between now and Crossroads. If you can, do it. That gun out of the box meets all the SMG requirements. It runs off of a 7.4 only, and it is so freaking fun. The gun is TM, so it's very reliable out of the box. The recoil, the manual, like you have to do the whole HK slap when you reload it because it stops firing when it's empty. It's the funnest time I think I've had playing airsoft. It was like it's in the top like 5 or 10. Like running around shooting full auto with an MP5 that has recoil is the coolest thing ever. I can't stress that enough.
I love you to death.
Yeah, I can't agree with you on that.
There's a reason why Rich
I
has
love you to
like
death.
5 of them.
But there's also 90 seconds left on this SD card.
Perfect.
I love you.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning into the Zulu 24 podcast. Again, thank you, Anthony and Jordan, for showing up. Also, if you saw us on the live stream, this might be something we do a little bit more. I'm not sure. But anyway, good night. God bless. We're out. It's actually nighttime when I said that.
Yeah. Yeah.